Yeah. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. OnChain Revolution, you're not bullish enough. Every day we steady looking at the market, and we gon' tell you how to get started. Chain abstraction, fear and greed index, always looking at price action. Roll call in advance, you don't even gotta mention. I swap it in the deck, you're not bullish enough. Trade it in the size, you ain't trenching enough. We do that market recap. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. Shizzy and Yagobi. OnChain Revolution, network in the art. Every day we go live, baby, you know where we are. We mention all the networks and the crypto. Need some more liquidity, flipping and trading is the recipe. Too many protocols to count. I get high and I'm never coming down. Now when I'ma go up, then I'ma say peace. Yeah, you thought that I was gonna leave. Yeah, we just getting started, man. OnChain Revolution. Every day. Bring the beat back. Eyes everywhere, gotta be careful with volatile meme coins. You can get some bread if you round trip it, then you gon' regret. All this information in my head. BYOR, touch grass instead. Nobody really knows how it's gon' end up today. Somebody gotta tell you what's happening today. I don't let the money change me no way. OnChain Revolution, here to stay. Yeah, say I'm Sage, man. Voodoo 2 on the way. Yeah. Nicky's. Yeah. OnChain Revolution. OnChain. Hey, OnChain Revolution. Bitcoin not an illusion. Market recap, then I do a roll call. You're not bullish in the vocal. Look at the price action, change. Yeah, send it to the deck. Yeah, sell it through the spec. Order knows the best. Too much Bitcoin, gotta go to rehab. If you end up bearish, gotta put the knee pad. Let me see the comments. Look at the fear and greed index. Bridge. Look at the chart.
Welcome back to OnChain Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire Bitcoin crypto ecosystem. What's up, guys? We have an amazing show for you guys today. We're live for the OnChain Hour, and this one is going to be absolutely awesome, guys, because we are days away from Jerome Powell. We are days away from potentially a huge awakening in all markets, not just Bitcoin. Obviously, we kind of are aware that he's not going to raise rates or he's not going to cut rates. He's not going to do anything. He's basically going to keep everything the same. But at 2:30 on Wednesday, we're going to have him come out, and he potentially could say quantitative easing. He potentially could say stopping the tightening. He potentially could say, hey, we're still on pace for 4 rate cuts this year. Anything forward-looking would actually pump Bitcoin. It would actually pump everything. And I think right now we need that. We need a jolt from TradFi. We need a jolt from a lot of other things so we can kind of take that momentum and do our thing. And our thing, we know, guys, we know what it's going to be. We know we're going to hit crazy numbers in Bitcoin, and we know everything else is going to follow it. But that's the thing that I just don't know what's going to happen. I just don't know if Bitcoin's going to ride this up by itself again, and then maybe we have to wait a while, or is everything going to kind of rip with it? I'm kind of leaning towards everything kind of ripping with Bitcoin, everything running up together, doing that January of 2021 feel. When are we going to get that? We are going to get that. We're going to get 6 months of craziness. But when? We're gonna tell you guys exactly when we think that is, and it's I think it's gonna be soon. But without further ado, let me bring in my partner here as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, buddy?
What's up?
What's up, man? So what is exciting you right now? What is kind of giving you the momentum to kind of think that we're headed into a bull run?
Yeah, there's a lot of things right now outside of the macro catalyst that we talked about before with the M2 money supply, possibly the Fed easing up a bit. But, you know, hearing some feedback from some of our partner builders, as well as just builders in the space from Dubai, how Bitcoin was really a strong vibe there in the side events. And a lot of these, you know, first of all, DGen's kind of coming back. I see some names on my timeline I haven't seen for a little bit. So it looks like when the roaches come out, they know that there's some liquidity, right? So that's another thing as well. But you can just feel the overall energy from the builders ecosystem, as well as now we're starting to see like the retail users kind of come back in.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And then, with the event last week, I think, everyone we talked to at that event in Dubai was really, really bullish, right? We talked to Jeff Merlin. He was on stage there, right? He was on stage with Sachs and a lot of the other guys, and he was telling us, like, this is different. This time is different. Especially there's a lot more Western people involved in crypto again. Last year around this time, you were seeing the bull market was just kind of sitting sideways, and you were kind of seeing a lot of more Eastern, and now it's kind of has that more of a Western Eastern together. Because if we want numbers to go up, we're gonna have to do this together. It's gonna be an entire world that needs to pump this.
Exactly. And he specifically was talking about BTC Fi as well, right? So when it comes to being able to utilize your Bitcoin to earn more, that's what some of these Western entities and infrastructure entities are focused on, while some of the Eastern and I guess like the Eastern builders, they already set some of that infrastructure, and so they're also kind of looking for like the new thing as well, right? So it's going to be interesting because the biggest thing is that people are here, even though the overall socioeconomical, or like the global economical outlook or economic outlook doesn't look like the best. It's just the fact that like this money supply is playing into Bitcoin's price action, as well as I feel like we can almost kind of only get better. Obviously things could get worse, but we're kind of at this point from like a global economic standpoint to where it seems like it's kind of like it's only like the only option is to get better. If it gets worse, then everything collapses. So with that being said, like in Q4, that will play perfect into something like the crypto space and Bitcoin that's doing well while it's not better yet from a global economic standpoint. So I'm excited.
Yeah, 100%. Me too. I'm really excited for the next 6 months. I think the next 6 months are gonna be really bullish. Maybe with a cool down, right? And then we go into that Q4 and just absolutely excitement happens again. But real quick with some housekeeping, we do have a new partner. These guys up here, Sats Terminal. We just signed them over the weekend. Absolutely awesome. They're joining our partnership program. We're going to be helping them out with marketing. We're helping them out with we're joining the team as advisors and a bunch of other stuff. We're really excited to work with these guys because I use it, right? So it's amazing when you can partner with somebody that you're excited about, and it took you a while. I've been using it for a little while with the Cardano side, and now they're on the Bitcoin side, and now Sats Terminal. It's really awesome.
It is. It's a big step, I think, for both sides, and people are going to start realizing that this is a major player in the infrastructure for Bitcoin DeFi, right? And so super excited to get into them in terms of what they can offer the everyday user, right? Because there's definitely some alpha in terms of utilizing their platform and all that stuff, what we can get into later down the road.
Yeah, man, 100%. And every Wednesday with them at 12:30, we're lucky enough we're going to have someone from the team. And which is awesome with that is we're going to have a lot of updates from them, because we are actually talking to the team this morning, and there's a lot. If you think they're just an aggregator, you're wrong. There's so much coming from these guys, and it's going to be awesome to be able to break that down live for you guys. But yeah, any last words on Sats Terminal?
No, just excited. I mean, they're the aggregators, so they're going to get you the best price, and they have access to all the liquidity. So super excited about that.
Yep. All right, let's kind of get into today's show. I mentioned it in the intro there, but Wednesday, 2 p.m. FOMC meeting. We're going to get he's going to come. They're going to come out and say, no, it's not going to change, right? No, nothing's changing. 2:30. Markets are forward looking. What are you kind of expecting, Jerome Powell? Are you expecting him to be very dovish or very hawkish going in, leaving that meeting?
I don't think that the current administration has the best relationship with him, but we're going to see if he's honest about separating his personal, emotions from the current administration, what they want him to do. I mean, this isn't brand new to him. He had pressure from the last administration as well, so he knows kind of like how this goes, right? And then Trump came out and said he's not going to get rid of him. He came out in an interview over the weekend, said he's not going to get rid of him. So, but probably not going to do anything with rates. I imagine he's probably going to have like a little bit of a hawkish stance here, just because he's been emphasizing a little bit on the tariffs, right? The last time he spoke, but we'll see what happens. It doesn't seem to be changing Bitcoin's price too much, except for the volatility that always happens before a Fed meeting when he talks. And I think that's what we're seeing with Bitcoin right now is, these market makers trying to get everybody, and that's what they do. That's how they make their money.
Yeah, 100%. They want to scare you from getting in right now, and they don't want you to get in because they want to buy very slowly. They want to buy at a certain amount, and that amount to me is under 100K. But I don't think I think their time's running out basically. And there's somebody that agrees with me. His name is Michael Saylor. He said that they acquired another 1,895 Bitcoin between April 28th and May 4th at an average price of $95,167. Totaling $180 million. So there you go. And then MicroStrategy holds 550,000 Bitcoin at an average price of 68,000, worth 52.35 billion, with a 14.28 in unrealized profit. So think about that for a second. So Saylor has $52 billion in Bitcoin. 14 billion of that is profit.
That's amazing. That's his strategy. Obviously, people have been watching it and people have gotten nervous at times, but it seems to be paying off. He's winning as of right now, right? And then you see some other companies starting to slowly say, hey, look, this blueprint is showing success. How can we replicate that? I don't think it's enough companies doing that, but there's definitely a couple starting. And if we see even further success, we're going to see some more jump on this bandwagon.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, everyone's looking at what Saylor did, and they want the success. Not only you be up $14 billion on your purchases, but on top of that, I mean, the Saylor stock is up 3,000%. I mean, every company in the world would love their stock to be up 3,000% in 4 years, 100%. So,
yep.
Moving along here. So Trump was talking over the weekend. He said a lot, but this is the one thing that I got from that. He says, "I want crypto. I think crypto is important because if we don't do it, China's going to." So does Trump want to have Bitcoin as or crypto as assets on the books, or is he just doesn't want China to do it? Like, is this just a few to China, or what? Why the comment? If we don't, China's going to do it.
I think it's just kind of like the look. I think it's not a hidden fact that the two top world powers are the U.S. and China, and they're always competing. And this has gone back to the Cold War with the U.S., Russia, and China being always like the top three rotating in the world power. So it's just competition. It's the same thing with AI, though. You see it there, with DeepSeek, we have ChatGPT, and so there's constantly competition happening. I will say, he's not a man that is best with his words or phrases and to get his message across. And I feel like this is like one of those situations, right? But he's big on it, and I think he's also just getting advised a lot with it, right?
Yeah.
And he wants the U.S. to thrive. I think at the end of the day, he wants the U.S. to thrive in so many different ways, but he sees this as being one of the ways for the U.S. to kind of take a lead in an emerging market and industry.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Well, he's doing something right because Trump's crypto-friendly stance is drawing global firms to the U.S., according to Financial Times. Deribit, which we know is like a options trading platform, OKX, Nexo, Wintermute, and DWF Labs are among the latest exploring market expansions. They want to be in the U.S. They want to have that legitimacy of being a United States company. And, we do know that there's tax advantages now in the Trump administration for companies that are in the U.S.
I wouldn't be shocked if Citadel acquired Wintermute or something like that.
Yeah.
That just they seem like a match made in heaven, right? In terms of these market makers. I mean, Citadel's the traditional legacy market maker for stocks and stuff like that, or they have that division under them. And then you have Wintermute moving over here. I actually wouldn't be shocked if a lot of these companies end up getting acquired, something similar to that .com boom, right? To where you had your traditional media start to buy up some of these digital media companies and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so this is obviously saying, hey, look, that it's attracting talent, or at least attracting the successful entities in our space right now to the US, right? So it seems like he is doing a good job with that.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. I think that, this is just the beginning. I think, all these crypto companies are finally okay to where the point where I don't got to go to a site and like, oh crap, my VPN's off because I can't use the damn site because I'm in the US, right? I think a lot of that stops, and I think that's the best thing for crypto markets is for the US to be a part of the US because we are the biggest stock market in the world, right? And I think we can be the biggest crypto market in the world as well.
Yeah, largest financial markets, that's for sure.
Yep. All right, jump to the next thing here. Bitcoin dominance continues climbing. Currently, it was at 64.9 yesterday. Do you think we've hit the top on this, or do you think? Let me show the chart here. Or do you think there's we're going to continue up this long? If I showed you this chart as Bitcoin's price, you'd be so excited, right? But this is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Do you see potentially? Are we about to? And we talked about this last week, but it's just not stopping here. I mean, we've hit the number. 64.95 was it looks like it was we did hit 65 and then we came back down here. But do you think potentially we get to 68, 67, or you don't think so?
I think it definitely could happen, especially if we don't go into a risk on environment. That's the problem right now. There's multiple reasons why Bitcoin's dominance is so strong. Number one, institutions are here, so they're buying. Retail users aren't really buying. Some are that have the capital, but it's really institutions that are really pushing this price up. And also we're in a risk off environment right now because of nervousness. And so they're looking at Bitcoin as a safer asset. Obviously, it's the safest asset, in my opinion, in all assets. But people are going to say that's biased because it is. But I will say that. But if you zoom out, like the chart will tell you everything, right? But I will say if we can't get the risk on environment back, then this could continue up, right? And the alts will have just their moments of thrusting up because Bitcoin's being so aggressive, but then that whenever Bitcoin pulls back, they're going to pull back even more. We saw it the past 6 months. And so we definitely need to get into a risk on environment for this to come down, in my opinion. How do we get there? Obviously, people know that the trade situation needs to settle down, or maybe some of this tax through this new bill, this beautiful bill goes through, something stimulate the economy, maybe lower rates. There's a lot of things that can be done, but it just has to happen. We're just not in that environment yet. And until we get there, this is going to continue up, in my opinion.
I'm in the opposite camp. I think we peaked. I think we topped here. I just can't see. There's so many amazing projects in crypto, right? And especially like Tao and we're going to talk about SEI and SUI. I feel like a lot of people, especially the bigger pockets, are going to be looking for assets that they can accumulate now before everything pops off. And I think as they go up against Bitcoin, Bitcoin's dominance drops. And I want to say it's the top. I wouldn't be shocked if it's not, but I truly believe that we've at least hit the top for this year.
So even if we don't go into a risk on environment, you think so? Because
I just think that
everything else is so speculative to like these investors, and you're not going to get retail to come in aggressively until we're in a risk on environment.
There's 3 letters that changes that. Those letters are
what, the SEC with regulation or IRS?
ETFs. I think we're going to get ETFs this summer. I think the speculation going into the ETFs, I think we're going to get an XRP ETF, a Dogecoin ETF, a Solana ETF. I think they're going to be coming within the next, I want to say 90 days. And I think the speculation going into that, right, it would be absolutely insane. And I think that'll be the reason why we top here.
Yeah, but if you don't have money, you don't have money. You know what I mean? And so that's where I feel like
these guys have money. When the ETFs happen, it's going to be Wall Street. I'm not worrying about retail right now. I think TradFi is waiting for an opportunity to pick up these assets, but they want to do it in a very centralized way, which they're used to doing, and they're going to do it through these ETFs.
So I could see some of that working. We didn't see it work very much for Ethereum, but I could see some of that working for some of these other popular blue chip assets. But it's not going to help any of the lower, like mid caps and stuff like that, because they're not going to have that option. And plus, they don't want to mess with that too,
Well,
because it's not safe
it
to
does,
them.
because then you're thinking, what's the next one? Is there going to be a SUI ETF? There's going to be an Aptos ETF. Oh, all these ETFs are in the pipeline. If they pass the top 3, what's next? And that is how the speculation. Our market is complete speculation. And if we get
Except for
speculation
Bitcoin.
on, except for Bitcoin, but everything else, is going to be that like what? All right, what's next? And that's going to be a huge snowball rolling down a cliff, right? It's going to be absolutely insane. I think that's what kind of takes us into the bull market.
But if you look at speculation markets, they don't do well unless we're in risk on. And
I'm just talking about dominance. I'm talking about dominance, right? Like, I'm just kind of saying that I think that this is the top of dominance
that could help
of those.
That could definitely help dominance, especially with those bigger market caps getting ETS and then institutions pouring into them.
That's just kind of
that's where it could help that. It could. We'll see.
All right. These next two are awesome, so I'll just read them off together. Apple has officially lifted restrictions on crypto transactions in iOS. It's now possible to make payments with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and to purchase NFTs directly within apps. Absolutely huge. And then Google's like, you know what? We've already had that. Google Wallet adds blockchain tech with ZK proofs for age verification and ID verification. First rollouts begin in the UK and US, expanding to 50 more countries. So Apple and Google are in. They're throwing their hat in the ring here. Apple lifting, and then Google saying, basically KYC on all Google transactions, which is the same thing as Apple. In order to trade crypto and Apple, you're going to need an Apple wallet. And to have an Apple wallet, you need to have, basically be, in with that, right? You need to have your phone number and all that stuff. So pretty big. These two are absolutely huge, right?
It is, but I think the ZK proof is better than a typical KYC, because you can verify identity without data being stored, in a centralized place.
True.
So I Google taking on this approach, in my opinion, is really big for ZK in general. Also, main, like this Web 2 or huge corporate adoption to say, hey, look, we're not going to steal your data, but we do need to verify that you qualify for being able to create an account and all these things. But then that's gone once, after it's done. So it's going to be interesting to see how much ZK proof is going to be utilized, because I think it's going to probably be heavily utilized, especially Google kicking things off.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, for Google to have this, right, that means they've been in crypto for a long time. I mean, ZKs have been, that's kind of what everything does, roll-ups, right? ZK roll-ups, ZK proofs. That's how you're getting, base chain. That's how you're getting Optimism and Arbitrum, right? They're ZK proofs. And for Google to understand that technology and actually utilize it, that's monstrous for crypto.
It is. And an entity like them kind of giving the green light here is big, right?
Yeah.
We know Apple has already kind of done that, and now Google. So we are here, guys. We have arrived. So be excited about this. I know some people are going to say we don't want the big institutions and banks to come. I mean, look, if you're going to have a popular tech or innovation, it's going to bring, raise the eyebrows of capitalists. And that's what we see right here.
And only 7% of all the people in the world are in crypto, who actually understand crypto, right? So what it's going to do, this is going to actually open up to normies. This isn't maybe something for us, right? We're not going to use the Google wallet, right? But if my mom ever wanted to get in crypto, I would push her that route, right? So nothing happens, like older people, and get them on chain. I mean, our whole goal here at OnChain Revolution is to bring people on chain, and even with a Google wallet, you're still technically on chain.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's go to the next thing here. Well, let's get into it. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs has blocked the proposed strategic Bitcoin reserve legislation in her veto statement. Hobbs dismissed Bitcoin as an untested investment. Last week, Arizona was making huge headlines about being the second state to have a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Smacked in the face by Katie Hobbs. How do you feel about this?
It proves that they're not doing research, because it is a tested investment. You look over 2009, the growth of the investment, it's the fastest asset growth over that period, right? Like, so, it just shows I think this is political, 1,000%, right? Because she is on the opposition of the current administration. And some people say, well, look what happened to Canada. They had, their, what was it called? The retirement, that was invested into Bitcoin, and it went to but they're not realizing that had to do with custody. The fact that they had FTX custody their Bitcoin, that's what it was. It wasn't Bitcoin. So if you have a strong security strategy of custody of Bitcoin, then you won't run into that issue. And so it's just education. They're not educated on it, and they don't want to be, because they are the opposition of pro Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, 100%. She's just you're right. This is politics, right? And she's on the other side of it. But we'll tell the next election, right, when she's up for it, whether the state believes in her or not. And a lot of people are going pro crypto. A lot of senators, a lot of governors, a lot of mayors are going pro crypto because they know that's where the vote is. And a lot of these, we learned the biggest money that came into the campaigns in the Trump thing was from crypto. And she's going to miss out on a lot of that if she doesn't get on board, but we'll see.
Yeah, and Wyoming also didn't approve theirs, which was shocking to me.
Yeah.
But it's not just Arizona, but I think some of these people that are in charge, they're just probably a little bit too scared, or they don't. I probably wouldn't put Wyoming in the same category. Maybe they are, but they are typically pro like mining and pro crypto in general. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see like the states that do adopt it, right, that have passed it, their success from a economic perspective versus the ones that deny the reserve legislation.
Yep. Jump into the next thing. Goldman Sachs to launch a 24/7 trading tokenized U.S. Treasuries. Let me say that again. 24-hour a day tokenized U.S. Treasury and money market funds.
RWAs.
This is insane, bro. Absolutely insane.
I am excited. I'm excited for the projects that are building RWA stuff, especially like there's a couple that are doing it in Arch ecosystem. I think Hamilton's one of them. There's a couple others, like we know that Ondo is RWA now going to have their own chain. But who more do you want to create these products? Probably I'm going to get some pushback from like the institutions, right? Like the power of the institutions coming in, trying to take from the original retail crypto users. But who knows these type of financial products better than like Goldman Sachs and these type of institutions. So it's going to be interesting to see how some of these smaller players that are before Goldman Sachs compete against Goldman Sachs and these other institutions that bring in their RWA products, because this is what this is. And maybe we have some, consumption type of situation to where not Hamilton specifically, a similar project like that gets acquired, or ones that have success that started off here get acquired. But maybe some people are like, no, we don't want that. We're gonna build our this into a huge empire. We'll see. It's gonna be interesting to see. I was too young whenever stuff like this was happening, and in the Web 2 space, I didn't care. I was more about parties back then. But now we get to see it kind of in slow motion, and I love that.
Yeah. And the next thing here kind of fits right into it because, Goldman Sachs, and you just kind of said it. So Bybit CEO says users can soon trade stocks, indexes, gold, and oil directly on the platform by the end of the quarter. So you just hit the nail on the head there when you said, who else is going to get in here? Bybit's throwing their hat in the ring.
Yeah. And Bybit has some capital behind it, right? There's some kind of like they're in the centralized exchange mafia, right? Like in the East, at least. And so they have some more capital kind of throw at this. It's going to be about like, who's going to have access, the, user, I guess, like UX in a sense. Can this get all the way down to like the individual user, to where like anybody retailer can go in and start to purchase these type of assets? Typically you have to go through like be certified and stuff like that, but this is a different game coming over into the digital asset realm. But Bybit has money, it has capital, and so they could definitely be a big player. We'll see though.
Yeah, I mean, this is big. I mean, imagine being able to go there and, you're able to Trade Tesla, trade Bitcoin, trade gold. I mean, it's just
On
smart by Bybit. Yeah, 100%. And who knows what assets you can be able to take off. Let's just say they tokenize them and you're able to take them off Bybit. Imagine taking like the S&P 500 off Bybit, like a share of that, right? So, but jumping along here, Warren Buffett, the S&P 500's longest serving CEO, will step down from Berkshire Hathaway by a year end. Greg Abel has been named as Buffett's successor. So my question to you is, will the new Berkshire Hathaway have Bitcoin on its books by the end of this year?
Ooh, I feel like Warren Buffett probably made him sign an agreement that he wouldn't add it. Wouldn't add it because Warren Buffett hates Bitcoin, or he at least acts that way, right? I'm not sure. I do think that eventually there's going to be this moment in time that TradFi, the most stubborn people in TradFi are going to have to accept that, the digital asset world is not going away. And how can we benefit from it? We've seen it from a entity standpoint, one by one. Once the Bitcoin ETF was approved, there was some people holding off, and I could go down a rabbit hole of probably why that was happening, but I'm not going to. I think it's just a change of the financial world order, kind of how the system, and they're going to have to accept it. So I would say the long term, yeah, they would bring that on.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, whether it's this year or next year, I think it'll happen in the next 2 years. All right, moving along here. So Polymarket users predict an 85% chance that Bitcoin breaks 100K this month. Where's your money here? So we have, 110K, 31%, 105K, 55%, and 100K, 85%. So it's pretty much you're sitting here, and yeah. So where are you taking? What are you taking here? 110, 105, or 100? Easy money.
I mean, I would say I would take the 100 just because I feel like that's gonna happen. 105 will probably happen. Maybe it happens in June though, so that's where it gets a little tricky. But the 100K is where I feel very confident that we'll see that this month.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have all-time high this May. I'd put it all in 110. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll go take that bet. But I think I truly believe that we're gonna pass that. We're gonna pass that very quickly. But we'll see. We will see. All right, VanEck. This kind of goes into my ETF argument from earlier. VanEck files an S1 for a BNB ETF with the SEC. So this is the second company to come out and do BNB. Do you see BNB getting an accepted ETF? I think BNB is one of them that might get denied.
What? Just curious. What's your intuition for that? Like, why are you feeling that way?
Because of Binance, if their Binance Smart Chain, Binance has lawsuits, and CZ was in jail. I just think there's going to be a little bit of pushback on the side of the SEC with this one. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't know. I just feel like Binance's name in the U.S. doesn't really ring bells, especially with Coinbase really in the ear of the SEC, which it feels like right now.
Yeah, I think they get approved, and I think it's because of the current administration's take on the Eastern builders. They've been really friendly with them, and they've been open, and they're launching products on their chains and stuff like that, right? So, will Brian Armstrong have any say in this, or like try to have any influence? Maybe. Will he though? Will he want to? Maybe not. Who knows? That they seem to be on the same page and stuff with certain topics and things like on crypto Twitter. I actually think I think most people would agree that even though there was some proven activity like from CZ and Binance that was like not maybe the most like straight arrow from before he went to prison of what put him there, it like you could have got pretty much any, in my opinion, like any CEO of any centralized exchange from last cycle on stuff like that. And so I think it was like it was vengeance, in my opinion, of kind of CZ collapsing FTX, right? And so they went after him aggressively. I think that kind of mentality is not the same with this administration of like, obviously if there's wrongdoing there, stuff like that, they're probably, be hard on them, but it seems like they're opening up more to like these Eastern builders. So I actually think that it does get approved. Not right away, maybe, but eventually.
Another reason I don't think so, you can't buy BNB in the US besides Binance.us. Like there's no exchange. I just looked it up. There's no exchange in the US that, crypto.com doesn't even have it, right? To where you can buy BNB on these exchanges, especially Coinbase, especially Kraken. The only place you can really buy it is Binance.us. And there's a couple other places as well. Like it says Sex.io, never heard of it, Transact. And it says while Coinbase provides BNB price tracking and conversion tools, it does not currently support direct trading of BNB. So that's another reason, right? You can't even really buy it in the US right now.
Yeah, that probably will have to be something that changes. If they do get approved. Kraken, you can buy BNB on Kraken.
Which Kraken though? Is it the US version or the other version?
It just says Kraken. It doesn't say the actual
you got to remember Kraken has that
Europe
offsite, that Europe version as well. So
yeah. But it doesn't say like .eu or anything like that. So it's gonna be interesting. I feel like I remember seeing a post from Kraken about listing them. Regardless, if they're on Kraken though, that's definitely a big US one. So
yeah, for sure. Speaking of Binance, Binance founder CZ says he advised Kyrgyzstan to adopt Bitcoin and BNB as initial assets for its national crypto reserve. So you gotta be happy when you got CZ advising these countries, and he's like, throw a little BNB in there as well. Don't forget about BNB. So if you got your Bitcoin, but this is like him basically saying like, I know it's gonna go up. Like, don't worry about it. Just add it. So what do you think about this?
Good. I think good because educating these nation states on Bitcoin, obviously he's going to shill his the coin that is associated with Binance. But look, it has an $84 billion market cap. It's not like it's chopped liver here. It's ranked number 5. It's a powerhouse still. I think this is good. He's probably going to do his tour of a lot of these different countries, but nation state adoption is what's going to really push Bitcoin over, in my opinion, especially when it starts to go a little bit more crazy. And then the FOMO kicks in at that level. We could see Bitcoin at some crazy prices. And that's probably why BlackRock has it. It cites at like that 700,000 now for the end of this year. I think that's a little too ambitious, but who knows? I wouldn't complain.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think that, it's smart. But like, TZ really believes in what Binance is doing. So, that's kind of why he's pushing it. But you're not seeing Ethereum. You didn't say anything about Ethereum. They didn't say anything about anything else. They said BNB. So, it definitely has that CZ touch on it. So,
yep.
All right, moving along here. Just before we get into Fear and Greed, last thing for Fear and Greed. So, Tether CEO introduces Tether AI, a decentralized peer-to-peer network of AI agents, open source, no API keys, no central failure points, and supports USDT and BTC payments. So this is the graphic I had from this as well. Tether AI, personal infinity intelligence, empowering AI projects through our investments, our core efforts, and long-term vision. I didn't really have a lot of time to really dig into this, and I will after the show. But what do you think of Tether really kind of using AI to kind of fully open source AI runtime capable of adapt and evolve any hardware and end device?
We knew this was coming in integrating AI agents into, DeFi, right? Yeah, this is peer-to-peer, but that's kind of where you have to start in a sense, right? And before you get into any like smart contract stuff. And this is big, right? Is big because Tether's huge. If they're starting this off, like how like mainstream adopted will this get to, right? Like, and plus like the people like us that read this, we care about this, but like people like you said, like your mom or someone else, like my uncle or whatever, probably our wives, they don't really care about this, right? They're just like, is it safe? Is it fast? Okay, I'll use it. right? Am I guaranteed, like, if something happens, that kind of situation, right? And so, but for us, you and I, this excites us because now you can kind of see the beginnings of some possibilities to get around limitations like that blockchains like Bitcoin like really put in front of builders, right? I
Yeah.
don't know how far it can go, but it seems like AI has a really high ceiling when it comes to innovation and how to do something without having a middleman there. Like they act as that, and you know, they can be completely unbiased and no emotions involved, right? And so does it fix something like Bitcoin's limitations with no on-chain computation? We'll see. But I like that Tether's using it because Tether's building in the space now, the Bitcoin
Yeah.
space.
My first reaction to this was Tether's always first. Tether seems to be always that company. Tether is like the one company that it seems to be always everyone hates, but it seems to be always that company that is very like first, very, you know, they're always out there. They're always putting themselves out there. They're always being that company that is I mean, they win. These are a bunch of winners at this company, and you can't stop them. Like the Tether has died 99 times. Like this is like one of the greatest companies in the world, and they're actually showing they're putting their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, it's so funny you said they died 99 times because there's like big you know, bear whales in the crypto space that they always like the doomsday Tether like
Yeah.
breakdown, you know, like
Yep.
well once they find out like that Tether has no collateral or they want to
Yep.
blah blah, Bitcoin's gonna go to zero, blah blah blah, all these things, and they've just kind of marched through it. And like Michael Saylor, right? There's Michael Saylor is like from a individual that has a big name in our space. They always say when's the day that he's going to capitulate and, you know, lose his margin because you know, he's going to get liquidated and all these things. He's been able to power through it. Same thing with Tether. This is big news, but I definitely want to see what this experience is like and how can you build further upon this, right? It's gonna be interesting. Because I will say this: I think that there's people in the space right now that, including myself, right now. This is why I'm saying it. I don't want to be the first to test this out. You know what I mean? It's like whenever the first like Mustang electric vehicle Mustang came out, I was like, I don't want to buy the first model. I want to buy like the fifth model because the fifth model is like proven. That's how I feel about this. Once it's proven, everybody's going to use it. This type of approach.
Yeah, 100%. And if you bought you know, Bitcoin every single time that there's Tether's FUD, you'd be rich. Like that's kind of proven. If you bought, because every time there's Tether FUD, Bitcoin drops 3, 4, 6, 8%. Back in the day, 15%, right? And now, like if you go back in time and every single time you see, let's just say you DCA'd every time there was Tether FUD, you'd be absolutely rich. So
yeah, true story.
all right, let's kind of get into that Bitcoin fear and greed here. Well, crypto fear and greed here. I use the Binance chart here. It is loading up right now. Come on. What the hell? Okay, here we go. So last week we were at a 54. Yesterday we were at a 64. We are a little bit lower than last week's 54. We're in neutral right now.
51.
Right there, 52. I'll give it to you. So it right on the nose there. But how are you feeling about this? Do you think this is a fair number? Because I feel a little more bullish than neutral. I don't know.
I think it's fair though. It's fair because
Yeah.
of the way things played out yesterday. You know, you had really a kind of a breakdown early in the morning that never had a bounce back up really, right? And then kind of ended the night not necessarily like, you know, with positive price trend. And so it makes sense that the score went down. And so I think that, you know, this week's going to be one of those interesting weeks where it's going to be mind games played because the Fed on Wednesday and the fact that 2 weeks ago we jumped up $10,000, $12,000 in price. And now it's kind of like, this is what happens all the time, guys. Pay attention to this right here. What happens is the price jumps up a significant percentage with Bitcoin. Everybody gets bullish. They start thinking about the majors, the blue chips that are going to follow, and then they can't get out of, you know, bull run mentality and you have to realize that the market makers love that, because now they get to liquidate you guys, or at least hit your stop losses, because you guys are in up only mode. Your mentality is in up only mode, but you got to remember that there's money to be made whenever people are in that mindset.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. For sure. But we will see. All right, let's get into the next thing here, which is the Bitcoin and crypto. We're going to crypto bubbles and the Bitcoin price action. And Bitcoin price action is brought to you guys by Artura.finance. Artura, they are actually going to be going live really soon, and they chose to go live on Hemi. Hemi is backed by Binance, right? So Hemi doesn't have a coin right now. Artura doesn't have a coin right now. So if by using Artura.finance, once they go live on mainnet, probably in the next couple of weeks to a month, you will have the opportunity to not only farm the Hemi token, but you'll also get the Artura token. And you guys can do low leverage on low money and actually just farm it. And everyone knows that, I think we're about to head into an airdrop season. What does that mean? Airdrop season is when there's a lot of amazing projects who don't have coins yet actually give back to their community. We always see an airdrop season before we see a bull market. In 2020, you saw Uniswap do an airdrop, exploded the entire market. I think we're going to see 10, 15, 20 projects do an airdrop in the next couple months, which is going to be absolutely awesome. But I want our community to take advantage of that. And Artura.finance and Hemi are definitely two that you should be farming as soon as it drops. Check them out at Artura.finance.
Yep, exciting times for that team for sure. We're going to ask you guys to help us out here, though, on the YouTube side. Smash that like for us. Subscribe to the channel. Turn your notifications on so you know when we go live. On the X side, guys, please share the space for us. It helps us a ton to try to reach some new retail users, or possible, trying to learn about crypto and really onboard them to get them on chain and learn about the Bitcoin ecosystem. But let's jump into some Bitcoin price action here, starting off with the hour chart per usual. You can see we kind of played out like how I was talking about. Like Sunday was a down trend with a little bit of bounce back and a continuous downtrend here. You can see the stochastics wants to head back down to that 20-point mark on the stochastic RSI, which would be the oversold mark. You can see the MACD is also starting to form some decently strong candles, nothing crazy yet, but also you see some support here, kind of right where we're sitting at that high $93,000 mark. You see it's about even with support and resistance, but then the support really kind of gets a little bit stronger below at that 93.6. So can we go further down? Absolutely. And it looks like our indicators are showing that that's the direction they want to go. But I wouldn't expect anything crazy. Like, I don't think we're going to head towards, below 90,000 or anything like that. But what I will say is that typically when there is a Fed meeting, we will get some volatility. And I think that's what we're showing right now, starting with yesterday and a continuation with today. And also you have to remember 2.5 weeks ago, we jumped up about 12 grand. So that's a big, push back up with the price trend. And right now, the volatility, the market makers are definitely going to play off of that, right? So the second half of today, I would not be shocked if we range to the low 93,000s, maybe high 92. And if it doesn't really have a continuation with that downtrend, we could flow back up to the 94.5 and kind of that range. But it is forming this downtrend, and it has a continuation from overnight as well. And so that is the hour chart, guys. The 4-hour chart is kind of telling that same story. You can see here, right? This downtrend is has this continuation set right at that $93,600 mark, and you can see the stochastic too is really showing this blue line kind of clamping down instead of pointing straight up. So this gives me even more confidence that we'll probably see a little bit more of a downtrend, but nothing crazy. I don't think we're going to see any like crazy $3,000 downtrend or anything to bring us back below the $93,000 mark. I could be wrong. They do like to grab liquidity pockets, so it could be a quick tag and back up. But this is showing to me that we'll probably be in a little bit of this downtrend until maybe the Fed meeting, right? Because the 4-hour does give us a 2 to 3 day outlook here. So it's kind of telling the same story of that smaller time frame in the hour chart that says, hey, we're probably going to chill out a bit, maybe sell down a little bit, but I don't expect hyper aggressive sell down. All right, and the weekly chart for Bitcoin still looking good. Yes, we are starting the week red, but it doesn't matter how you start the week. It matters how you finish the week, right? We were a lot higher than how we finished the week last week, but we still finished in the green yesterday. Do we get a red candle this week? Who knows? I don't think so. I think we end up either getting a small green candle or maybe even like a medium-sized one, but we'll see what happens after the Fed meeting. You can see that the setup is still here. It is kind of a little more horizontal than I'd like because it was peaking a little bit more vertical. But you can see here on the stochastics, we're almost to that 75%. All the way up to the 80-point mark on the stochastic. So I'm feeling better and better about this chart. Yes, a little bit of red to start the week, but it won't hurt. It's not going to hurt anybody, right? As long as we don't see something crazy like a pullback to 82, which would bring us right back to the 50-day EMA, which I don't expect that. That would be wild if that happened. I'll be like, what is going on with the world? So I actually expect it to kind of, either we get, so in my opinion, three options: either a small, tiny red blip, or we finish the week with a small green candle or a medium-sized one. I'm not expecting anything crazy on the upside either this week, but the setup still looks really good. I'm feeling really good about Bitcoin on the weekly. And the last part of the trading view charts is the others chart on the weekly, which is everything outside of Bitcoin and the top 10. So think of, the blue chips outside of the top 10 and the mids and micros. You can see here, we made it above the 50-day EMA here. We bounced back down. This is just typical what I said earlier. When Bitcoin, with the dominance being so high, we're in risk off environment right now. It was going up because Bitcoin was going up aggressively. But when Bitcoin pulls back, this will pull back more aggressively as well. Until we get into that risk on environment, that's when this will fast track, in my opinion. But we're still looking okay. The setup looks fine. Bitcoin just needs to get back on track with the positive price action. And I think that we will be right back on track. So all the charts are looking fine, guys. No need to freak out or worry, even though the bubbles looks kind of red on the day. I don't love this, but stuff that sticks out to me right off the bat is Core, which is actually a Bitcoin layer 2, up 8.4%. So must be some big news with that. You see TRON up 0.4%. Maybe they launched the world what is it called? World Liberty-Fi stable token on that. No, that's probably coming. And then you see Tau up 2.9%. So SUI up 4.5. But then you see some stuff that pulled back, like the XRP down 3.6%. Some of these memes like Pepe down 3.8%. Yeah. So looking okay. Go ahead.
It looks like the calm before the storm, right? Like if anything, this is zero, right? Like you got some on the plus side, you got some on the negative side, but in between, it's like no movement. If you do an average, right? So I'm even if you are seeing a lot of stuff down, you're seeing a lot of stuff up. So it's sideways right now. Everything going sideways. Everything waiting for the king. The king talks, and we got to listen, and we'll see what he says.
Absolutely. But remember what I said, though, like with the dominance being so high, like when Bitcoin was like thriving, and it's still doing fine, but when it was thriving 2 weeks ago and last week, all this was majority green. You might have like one day that was off or something, but now that Bitcoin's pulled back some, it pulls back even harder, and so that's where we're going to be, in my opinion, until we get into that risk on environment, which, look, that can happen within a month, right? So we just need to wait and be a little bit more patient. I know we've been saying that, but our time will come. And so I think we're fine, guys.
Yep. Great job on that, man. Let's jump to the roll call here on this show. First is first. Let me show the screen. Let's see who got it. So this is the 5-5 that is today. All right, let's see who got it. It is Webdro. Congratulations, Webdro. And if you don't know, what this chart is here is we're actually going to be giving away a Bitcoin frog on December 31st to the person who has the most wins. And let me go ahead and add my boy Webdro in here. And let me find out how many wins you have. So your last win was 425. So congratulations on win number 17 on the year. And this is anyone's prize, guys. That frog can be anyone's. You got Lucky Lukey coming out. You know, look at it, has 12 wins. Webdro has 17. Danny Boy has 21, and then you see ASAP Benji has 8. So this is anyone's game still. We still have like 180 days left in the year. I gotta count the days, but there's a lot of days left in the year, and you have 5 chances a week to get in here. Anyone can get in here, and hey, who knows? Maybe we give away to every single person who makes this list. Who knows? We'll do something special for these guys, man. Mr. Sheedy, you got one. That's a legendary. You get on here. You're legendary, and let's see who takes the frog. But let's jump into the rest of these things here. So ASAP Benji was right there, about 6 minutes behind Webdro. Shout out to you, my friend. And then we have Danny Boy. Danny Boy's there. Lackey Lukey was there. Shout out to you guys, man. Let's see. Malam Yuri says, "Bring on the heat. Let's go." PJNZ is here. Merlin's Lucky is here with a Quunks. Is that a BRC 20? By any chance?
I think Quirks is. I think Quirks is BRC20.
Something like that. Yeah, Driftwood says Trump's WLF is invested in SEI. So I'm in, so am I. It's my largest bag. We got a SEI lover here. We're gonna get into SEI in a few minutes for sure. And we got Rare Sats Dom is here. Shout out to Rare Sats Dom. What's a good SEI leverage play? We're gonna get into that. We'll get into that as well. Shout out to you guys, man. Danny Boy again. He says Webdro SEI and saying shout out to you. 1 plus at is here. Shout out to 1 plus at. 1 equals X as well. I think you guys are friends. So shout out to you guys, man. A Abstract is here. Shout out to Abstract. Then we have Chips and Dip is here. Kane is here. Satoshi Nakamoto. Shout out to the king. Bitcoin is truth, says truth is Bitcoin. Vader Time is here. Shout out to Cheaty and our guy, super fan, GM, right at 11 o'clock. We appreciate you, my friend. And Courtney comes in and just gives us a piece, guys. And then he leaves. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Courtney Johnson, our guy. Patty Poo is here. Shout out to Patty Poo. He says BRC 20s going to make historic comeback. Ordy, Sats, Degen, Rats, and Honk. Thank me later. You guys can thank them later if you get into that. Nighthawk UXL is here. Shout out to our guy. He's out there making sure people get home very safely. Shout out to Nighthawk. Ant-Man is here. Shout out to Ant-Man. Glass Hopper. Katie Hobbs is a tool. She stole that election. Hey. And another person comes in and says Katie Hobbs is a Democratic. They're not friendly to cryptos. They are not. And shout out to our partner, Tokyo is in the house. Shout out to Tokyo. Really appreciate you making roll call today. Mice Elf going to finish us off here. He says, it's funny how people hate CBDCs because they can be controlled, but they're okay with stable coins, which can also have transactions frozen.
I mean, that's a great point. It's a great point because we talked about this before. It's basically like the capitalist like competition in the US versus the CBDC in Europe. And at the end of the day, like it's you do have some more freedom probably in the capitalist side, but how much more?
That's the question, right? So yeah, you are right. I mean, but it's not a country currency, right? They're backed by the dollar. So I think that's another thing. They're not like a government controlled entity unless the government wants to control them. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And then finishing off here, just at the last second, we got Hillbilly is here. Shout out to Hillbilly out in Pennsylvania. Shout out to my guy. Appreciate every single one of you guys who makes roll call every single day. Much appreciate to every single person. But guys, it is Merlin Monday. We do not have the legendary Jeff joining us today. He is actually traveling. He's headed home to Singapore. He was in Dubai all last week. So we're just going to cover a few things from these guys. So let's kind of jump right into it. So the first thing here.
I put the link in the private too. Yeah. Oh, you got it. Okay, you got it there. Yep. Perfect.
So Merlin Chain and SEI Network were thrilled to announce strategic collaboration between SEI and Merlin to bring MBTC to the SEI Network. By bringing MBTC to SEI, we're unlocking expanded yield and liquidity opportunities for Bitcoin holders on both networks. The contract for MBTC is that right there. But shout out to Merlin, man. They are sticking MBTC everywhere. We do know that wrap Bitcoin just got pushed over to Solana for the first time. Now you're seeing MBTC go to SEI. So you're going to be able to, you can get Bitcoin, wrap Bitcoin anywhere. The yield is what matters, right? Having different yield in different places.
And I feel like this is an example of kind of, going to events, being able to just really strengthen your network, and then getting accepted into this like really tight fraternity of wrap BTC signers. And next thing you know, MBTC's on SEI, right? So I expect it to continually travel and into more ecosystems and environments. And, this is really good for the branding for Merlin, in my opinion.
Yep. 100%. And, Jeff was in Dubai, like I mentioned, and he was on stage with guys from Sachs, all over the place. Jeff is making partnerships with pretty much everywhere. I would be shocked if MBTC wasn't second or third behind Wrap Bitcoin in the future. I think they're really pushing two things. Merlin Chain they're really pushing AI, and they're really pushing what is happening with this MBTC. So Wrap
BTC
Bitcoin.
Fi.
And so BTC Fi and AI, I mean, that's a winning combination.
Yeah, and then some of the other like quick updates for the audience here. So one thing was, Dubai, we kind of hit on this already about like the Western builders getting involved with BTC Fi. So expect, some of these products, the liquid staking with Bitcoin, earning yield and having opportunities for that type of approach with Bitcoin to be more prevalent, right, and more in your face, because that's happening from Western builders. Stuff like Core and stuff like that. And then also just a general sentiment, Phil, was that Dubai just seemed like, the sentiment's getting better. Builders are getting more aggressive. Investors are starting to get more aggressive. And that was really the feedback, right, from Dubai and Token 2049 was, one thing you will never get from Jeff is kind of just to sugarcoat anything, right? And so whenever he says he's worried, he will say it straight on Merlin Mondays, right? And so that was the thing that he mentioned was, he's actually feeling more bullish energy coming. So that's a good thing. And so I think, even though I say we have to wait till that risk on environment, which I still do believe that, I think there's a expectation that probably is coming sooner than later. And it's coming from the builders. It's coming from people that were away for the last couple months. That's one thing you'll never get from us. We're not just going to go, on vacation for 2 months and then come back. We're here every day to try to bring you guys the latest and greatest news and updates and everything. But, good things are coming, and that's the vibes we got.
Yep, 100%. And we're always going to try our best to find you guys alpha. Yesterday, we actually put out a members only video out. It was all the airdrops that I'm chasing. And this Sunday, I have a bunch more, and we're going to get in depth with a couple of those. So if you're not a YouTube member, think about it. And you guys can join and see that video from yesterday. And if you are a YouTube member, make sure you guys go watch that video. I think every single one of those airdrops you guys need to be involved in, right? Every single one of those airdrop opportunities are all over crypto. And a lot of our partners are doing really cool stuff. Even like Tokyo Wallet already has a coin, but they actually have incentives for doing stuff in their wallet. Guys, there's opportunity everywhere right now. And I think you guys need to take advantage of that and be quick with it, because we're running out of time. I think airdrop season is just around the corner.
Yeah. And I've mentioned this several times, but people are making $500,000 a year on airdrop hunting.
Yeah.
So it's there for the taking.
I mean, just last year alone, I made a nice bag of airdrops thanks to Magic Keaton, right?
Those were ones that we like. The best ones are the ones that you didn't expect, right? And you're like, yeah, I worked hard for that. I
traded some NFTs.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. All right, let's kind of get into today's show right here. So the title of today's show is "What is SUI?" So let's kind of get into what SUI is. I actually spent a few hours yesterday kind of going over what SUI is and how you guys can potentially take advantage of this. And that's something we're doing now. Last week we went over SUI. Today we're going over SEI. So SEI Network is a lightning fast layer 1 built on Cosmos, optimized for trading DeFi and gaming. SEI Network is not natively EVM, but it is EVM compatible through a parallelized execution environment. So SEI is primarily built using Rust via the Cosmos SDK and Cosm Wasm. It's fun to say for smart contracts. So Wasm is WebAssembly. So Cosmos has their own version of that, and SUI is actually using Wasm and Rust to do an EVM type of model. I'm sorry, Sei. I keep saying SUI. Sei is a Cosmos-based chain, not related to Solana's architecture. They shared the sum Rust DNA and focus on speed, but they're two different blockchains, and that was one thing that I asked ChatGPT right after looking. I was like, "Is Sei just a fork of Solana?" And it was like, "No, they share the same DNA. They share that Rust DNA, but they are actually completely different. They're written completely different. So Sei is actually different than a lot of these blockchains because it's not forked at all. It has it's something brand new, and to be kind of parallel with EVM or Ethereum is really awesome because that's kind of what Polkadot is doing, right? So a lot of the Polkadot layer ones are actually EVM compatible, but it's like they're parallel of each other. So what do you think of Sei so far?
I think this is a smart approach, the way they built their blockchain, so you can open up to more developers. The problem with developers in our space is if you're proficient in one language, you don't typically and a lot of them will go to what's hot, right? So like so many people learned Solidity last cycle because Ethereum and then EVM ecosystem, right? But then like this cycle, like Rust became really popular because of Solana. And like a lot of those developers are like, oh, I got to learn Rust now. Now, some of them have that natural itch to learn. They probably learned it before, but some of them will just be stuck in there. This kind of opens it up a little bit, I think. And I think what Polkadot's doing is smart because it does open it up to make it more. And I think that's what Sei's done here, right? And it seems like they're focused on DeFi and gaming is kind of like their two biggest things. But I think more of these kind of open source, not necessarily stuck in one programming language type chains are going to become more and more popular.
Yeah, 100%. And one thing that Sei is doing, obviously they're on Cosmos, right? But they're actually doing something very similar to what Crow did last cycle, right? So Crow, which as we know is crypto.com, they are EVM compatible, but they're also a Cosmos chain, right? Written with in the Cosmos SDK. But let's dive a little deeper into what Sei is doing, right? So the best place to do that is DeFi Llama, because this is kind of getting and kind of seeing if they're really striving in DeFi, and $509 million locked is pretty epic. So let's take a look at their top projects. And one thing you'll notice, you don't really notice on a lot of the chains, is Yay Finance, one chain, Sailor, one chain, Silo, one chain. That means that these are built natively for Sei. And that is big. You do have, your Stargate, which is, from layer 0. It's the kind of their bridge. So you see them there. So that shows you that layer 0 is building on Sei as well. So they got layer 0's attention. But this is pretty epic to be in an ecosystem where a lot of these projects, especially the ones with the higher amount of TVL, are actually just building for Sei.
Yeah, they're custom protocols for the blockchain ecosystem, but typically if they're new, there's some usage opportunity, possibly airdrop opportunity, so you kind of search for those, right? But the fact that they do have the ones that do go broad across other chains is also good because it shows that there's these projects see opportunity that have already built on in different ecosystems. Stargate's kind of one of those that you're going to see a lot just because they're a bridging protocol.
Yeah.
But you see, Uniswap is one that's over here too. And being $500 million TVL to me also shows that there's opportunity, right? Because some of their competitors, like probably, I don't know if Sui's a competitor, but like everybody gets them confused. But I know there are over $1 billion market. All these chains are really competing, right, for liquidity and capital.
Think about it. So Sei is Rust. Sui is Move. Move is a updated version of Rust. So I mean that's compatible, but the only difference is Sei was smart. Sei actually said, "Hey, we need to be parallel with EVM. We need to make sure that we work side by side with a lot of these builders in the EVM side, because that's when most people use EVM. I mean, you could say great things about Solana, you could say things about, but the bigger players you doing DeFi are using EVM, whether that's on Base, whether that's on all these other chains as well. But
yeah, and one of the common themes that we're hearing is that these new chains, like say and Sui, and some of these up and coming ones, they're for example in Dubai at Sui Base Camp. From what we heard, everybody was talking about how everybody wants to build on. I think it was Tokyo that it was like everybody wants to build on Bitcoin from Sui. That's what the conversation was like in Sui Base Camp. To me, that's so bullish in terms of the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? Sui is a hot topic chain. Sei is kind of up and coming. They're working with Merlin for MBTC now, so they probably want to also see how they can integrate the Bitcoin ecosystem into their chain, because these up and coming chains, it's so competitive for layer one that they have to find other reasons that make them relevant, other than we're a chain that focuses on DeFi and gaming. Okay, how many chains focus on that? A lot, right? But what else do you do? Oh, we also can be integrated with Bitcoin assets and this, and so they have to constantly figure out, okay, what else can we do? And I think like being able to be integrated with Bitcoin, the best and most secure blockchain that has the most liquidity tied into it, I think is a smart direction to go in.
100%, right? And say, adopting MBTC, which is Merlin, which is a Bitcoin layer 2. So now they're integrating Bitcoin layer 2s into their ecosystem. It's just a really smart. I have a Kepler wallet. It doesn't look like I'm able to load up my Kepler wallet unless I do Wallet Connect, but you can use MetaMask, Binance Wallet, OKX, and a lot of other ones as well. So, if you're interested in checking this stuff out, all you really need is a MetaMask, and you guys can just get involved, send some Sei from Coinbase or one of the exchanges there, or you can potentially bridge it. You can bridge potentially from EVM over using Stargate as well. So, and I think Stargate will give you a little bit of gas. So you'll be able to, once you bridge your Ethereum over, you can swap it for Sei if you're interested in doing it that way, or you can go the centralized way and getting it over there. But let's kind of show the ecosystem. I think this is it right here. This is a chart you found, and I love these ecosystem landscapes. I think it's really awesome, and we kind of zoom in here a little bit if it allows me to. And
leave it right there. Yeah, if you can go to 150, that's probably the best.
Yeah, it doesn't not work.
Okay.
Just immediately goes back, but I can just read them for you guys. So in the stable coins, they have UXD, in Inter protocol, which is a Polkadot protocol, Stride, which is a Cosmos protocol, and Everstake. Never heard of them. They have some socials, but the real stuff, right, would be the gaming, right? So I haven't ever heard of any of these gaming protocols. Have you? These are all new to me.
Yeah, so they're new to me as well. But I did hear that they do have like an emphasis on gaming and DeFi infrastructure. So, maybe there's a big game that comes out of this, or it's already starting to get established. But we could definitely dive deeper in future episodes. But you can see, like, you see stuff like Sushi, you see stuff like Uniswap, and from the last example, Uniswap's not there, but we saw on DeFi Llama that they're getting involved. So there's definitely like this cross of like possibly we'll see some Solana apps on here, who knows, and the EVM side, which I agree with you. I think it's smart. And one infrastructure thing that I see down there that I was kind of shocked to see Coin 98 down there at the bottom left. Yeah. So
they're a wallet, right? They're EVM wallets. So they pretty much bring on any EVM parallel chain. So, but yeah, I know what you mean. We will see what comes from here. But one thing I noticed about Sei, they're one of the projects that Magic Eden has brought NFTs from. So Magic Eden has recently, in the past couple months to last year, have adopted a lot of new NFTs. And this one, if someone in the chat was talking about Cappies, the floor is 130 Sei. There's 9.
Can you change it to USD?
Yeah, sure.
I was just curious what they're.
So $26. So they're pretty cheap. Nothing here is crazy. Do you think any of these NFTs on these chains could be worth buying? Potentially go to thousands of dollars?
Oh man, it's so tough when it comes
I
to NFTs and digital art and projects like that, right? Because there has to be something that sticks out that really makes the NFTs on these chains different. Like with ordinals, that was literally game changing. It was innovative. You're inscribing on Bitcoin forever. And you know, if you want to go back to the counterparty days, they're the first is first type of situation, right?
Yeah.
And then of course Ethereum has that like first real robust marketplace. So you know, anything that came after that, like I feel like the reason why like Barachain has like successful NFT projects on there is because they were known as like NFT degens that kind of got together to start that, and they hyped that up for a long time. Abstract, Pudgy Penguin. So some say needs something that makes them different, you know. So who knows? Maybe you know, there's a partnership in the future with a popular collectible or something like that. That could definitely do it, you know. But it's not going to, you can't, you, the days to where you just say, okay, NFTs are on our chain, you know, and these are the first collection, those days are gone, in my opinion. We had those last cycle for a little bit and they all went to zero for the L2 NFTs and all that stuff. So something needs to stick out.
Yeah, no, I agree. You're probably going to need bigger players to come in the space and pick this chain and stuff like that. But yeah, so very low on the NFT totem pole, but hey, who knows, right? These things could 10, 20, 30, 40x, right? So not saying they can't. So these are definitely by buying these, you're actually just getting exposure to the chain, which, you know, that's you're kind of getting elite exposure when you're getting an NFT because you're dependent on the price of SEI to go up, but you're also dependent on the amount of SEI to go up for the floor as well. So, but yeah, it's really cool to kind of explore different ecosystems because I never even heard of cappies or farmers or SEIans, which I think is pretty cool. I like that. So
yeah, well, the fact that and by the way, I'm not saying that these won't go up. Of course, you can multiply X's here, you know. I'm just saying, like, in terms of those like blue chip, that's going to be tough. But hey, Magic Eden picked them up, and I think that says something, you know. So
yeah, I mean, there's only what about 12 chains here, which isn't really a lot compared to how many chains that really exist. So maybe next week we'll dig into Avalanche because they apparently have some NFTs. I didn't even know Avalanche was an NFT platform, but yeah, let's go back to USD. So yeah, same thing there though. Nothing going crazy, but really cool to kind of check out SEI today. Really cool to kind of dive in and yeah, new projects means new opportunity. I mean, I know this came out in 2023, 2022 area, but you know, they're just kind of hitting our space, especially with the Merlin collaboration.
yeah, that's definitely a big step, and they have the Magic Eden edition as well, and we're gonna see which chains have that strong narrative. But it seems like a lot of these chains are putting their, you know, hand out and saying, Bitcoin, we want to build with you, and so we'll see how if that helps or not.
Yeah, man. All right, moving along here. Let's get into Ethereum. So the long-awaited Ethereum's Pectra upgrade goes live next week, May 7th, which is actually 2 days from now. Bringing the upgrades to staking, blobs, and account abstraction. So I looked into this a little bit, and we did go over it previously of what is in here. And basically there is something to where the wallets can actually become smart contracts, which will allow a lot of account abstraction. And that's something that we didn't really know about. I was actually reading about this weekend, and Ethereum wants to do a lot of account abstraction in the future, whether that's trying to get Bitcoin or some of these other chains. But account abstraction has been a buzzword that we've been hearing for over a year and a half now. And, you know, it looks like Vitalik and the team over there are trying to do that as well.
Yeah. I like if they can take account abstraction to the next level, which we've seen certain projects do this, like Particle Network with Universal X. I think Tokyo's going to be probably involved with some account abstraction. Maybe I'm wrong with that. I'm going to have to dive a little bit deeper in that. But I do know they're going multi-chain, right? That's one of their biggest things. And then you see some of these other, you know, chains just welcoming it to do Bitcoin stuff. By the way, Bitcoin started this. Bitcoin ecosystem, true or not, the Bitcoin ecosystem started account abstraction, and Merlin was the first chain. I don't know another chain that did it before them.
Yeah.
Right. To where you're actually utilizing like a Bitcoin wallet and you're able to do things with that Bitcoin wallet on an EVM tech stack chain. And so you got to give credit to the pioneers, right? But if Ethereum can take that to the next level, I don't even know what that would look like, because we see it to where it's so smooth. And I think Magic Eden's going to go there. There could be this thing to where, like we said, in the future, no one knows that are new. We're going to know just because we're nerds about it. But people that come into the space, they in a couple of years, they might not know. They just like this one wallet that's universal, right? And they're doing things in different environments, right? And they're just like, to them, they're going to be like, oh, I'm on this protocol, or I'm on this protocol. And then, but for us, we'll know, okay, that protocol is using chain abstraction. So look, this is probably where the future is, with a lot of these EVM, SVM, Bitcoin kind of big, like just ecosystem meshed together. Polkadot's already kind of heading that way with the developer side. It makes sense to me. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah. I think, in the future that, you're going to go and you're going to mess on some dApp that you really want, and you're not going to know what chain you're on. And it's not going to matter to you. You're going to have a universal wallet, and you're going to have all these transactions happening in the back end. And, it's kind of like, when you take a train, right? You're taking a train to Florida, you don't know where you're at until you get there, right? So I think that's kind of going to be, in the future. It's just none of this to us. It's going to, like you said, to us, it's going to matter. To us, we're going to know, okay, I use Say, and then I use Sui, and then I got on the Bitcoin. I want to see the rails, right? Because that's going to let us know what is being utilized, what is getting fees, and where the investments can happen, right? What's going to go up in price is because what is being utilized. But then there's people that just want to play, Fortnite on chain, or a Fortnite type of game on chain. They don't give a shit if they're on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Say, Sui. They just want to make sure their NFTs stay ahead, that they're receiving for these wins, or if that it's actually going to go up in value, right? And where they can list it at. So in the future is multi-chain, and if there's a chain out there that's not preparing account abstraction, then they're the ones that are not going to be involved.
Yeah, I agree with all that. Everything you said right there. And the more that people get out of this tribalistic mentality,
Yes,
the better you'll be off. I'm telling you. I know it's hard in the Bitcoin. Like if you're a maxi, or you just been like a layer 1 maxi, it's hard to get out of that. It's not hard to get out of that. Just get out of it, man. Just
stop being stupid. I was trying to say a nice way. Stop being stupid. Stop being a chain maxi. Stop being a maximalist, period. It is time to grow. It's time to grow our mindsets. It's time to grow our portfolios. It's time to grow as a person, right? Stop being so, I don't know, cultish. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you see what happened with politics with that, right? It's not good.
Yeah. I mean, honestly.
But and you could, like, I will always scream at the top of the mountain, Bitcoin is the best digital asset and always will be to me, unless there's some sort of exploit, which will, obviously that's what I know. That's the maxis are going to say. That's what we're trying to, say. This is why we say these things. No, you can still do it without, changing the Bitcoin core and stuff like that. So
100%. Well, speaking of Bitcoin and Vitalik Buterin has released simplifying the L1 proposal, outlining a 5-year plan to streamline Ethereum with a 10x L2 data boost. So he basically wants Ethereum to become Bitcoin here. So he says, what I just read, and it proposes a max code line cap to align Ethereum's core with Bitcoin's simplicity and resilience. So he kind of dove into here. He has a big article simplifying the L1. He wants to become a layer 0. That is the goal right now, from my understanding of what Vitalik wants to do. If you don't know what a layer 0 is, think Cosmos, think Polkadot. It's basically a chain that you can't do anything on, but all the transactions finalize on, right? And you're kind of seeing Polkadot kind of actually become the Jam protocol, which is like it's like instead of EVM, they're using like Jam EVM and JVM, and it's kind of on the same lines of what he wants to do here. And the funny part is, in the book, all about Ethereum, Gavin Wood actually suggested this to Vitalik a long time ago about becoming that layer 0 before Gavin Wood went and created Polkadot as a layer 0. And it looks like Vitalik's coming full circle here and basically saying Gavin Wood was right and wants to create Ethereum as that layer 0 where all these chains like Sony, like Base, like who knows what's coming in the pipeline actually just finalize on Ethereum. But he should have kept it proof of work if he wanted to do that.
This is their only option. I think this is actually probably a part of their like initial rollout. I feel like right now there's a lot of people trying to scramble with Ethereum. I don't think they are, but it's more of like the Ethereum maxis and OG Ethereum people and stuff like that. But this is the only option they have because of the business model they built through basically being a servicer for layer 2s and really promoting layer 2s. So this is the option. This is the business model, and if they don't, maybe they realize initially the way we viewed the business model isn't playing out the way that we thought. And so maybe they tweaked some things here with this, trying to simplify it. But I mean, it's either right now it's go for broke, right? Like you got to make this business model work, which if it does work, man, it could be really, really lucrative for, Ethereum holders in the future. Because now you're talking about having like the main standard, which I think most businesses are like financial, Web 2 to Web 3 would go. We're seeing it happen already.
Yeah.
So Sony using EVM. There's been other big players too that have gone into it. I just can't think of them right now because my mind went blank. But they're already moving towards that. Like they're like, okay, we want an EVM layer 2. So the Ethereum base layer just needs to make sure that they're getting monetary value for being a servicer to all these.
Yeah, 100%. There's rumors that Nintendo, either they're going to adopt a SUI, which is one of them, or they're going to create their own, which are probably going to create their own blockchain because a lot of these billion-dollar companies want control. And so, but if they do, they're actually probably just going to run up call Optimism up, say, hey, we want a chain, and Optimism does everything for you. Optimism was B2B in that aspect, and that's why you're seeing chains like Sony, and there's a bank in Switzerland who recently now has an EVM chain. There's so many that are being popped up, and it's super easy because you're just basically forking Optimism, and Optimism actually helps you fork them, right? So, and then you just got to pay some money in there, and they help you run your validators, and everything finalizes on Ethereum, which is exactly what you want if you are a business, and let's just say you don't have a Web3 program. This is actually a way in, and they simplifies it for you. And there's probably going to be easier and easier ways to get in. So I think this is all. I think it's great idea by the Ethereum Foundation.
Yep.
All right, next thing here, TRON network has officially surpassed 10 billion transactions with the 8.4 daily transaction. It remains one of the most active chains. TRON led all blockchains in fee generations in April, pulling 51.7 million in fees, according to Crypto Ranks. Let me show you my chart here. So TRON is TRON, Hyperliquid, and Solana are the top 3 by fee generation in April. Who would have thought?
Well, I mean, I can see Hyperliquid because it's becoming like this gauntlet of leverage and perps on-chain protocol, right? But Tron, like, what is happening over there? What are they doing? Is it just a bunch of P2P, like stablecoin payments? Like, what's happening? There's obviously something happening over there. I know they tried to do like their own meme coin launchpad, but have you heard anything that's happening over there? I haven't.
Well, I know they have different assets. Maybe let's spend some time. Maybe later this week or something, we'll dig into Tron because apparently we're missing something. It is 50 times more profitable than Arbitrum and Sui and Axelar and Base. And Base is 3.7. Right? Is Tron just expensive to use? Like, I don't understand. Like,
or maybe
I don't get it.
Maybe Justin Sun's all his net values on there with a bunch of bots doing DeFi stuff with each other. No, that's definitely not happening, I don't think. But yeah, it's interesting for sure. And now maybe there's more to, World Liberty Fi, or the stable token that's going to, be launched by the Trump organization on there, and there's reasons why to do it. So yeah, it's definitely worth diving into for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Phantom launches gasless swaps, letting users pay fees with swap tokens when low on Sol. Available for mobile trades of over $75. Again, this is something that needs to happen. It sucks when you forget to have, let's just say I just do an all trade, or I do that often, where I'm just like, everything I got, let's put it on. And then when I want to go sell, I don't have any gas left for the transaction. This will actually take that fee out of the swap. What do you think about Phantom really doing this? I think MetaMask does this as well.
This should have happened last cycle.
I know.
This should have happened. Do you remember the days when you were on Phantom, not the wallet, but the chain, or Kronos in my case, or Avalanche for the audience, or whatever you were on, and you do exactly what you said, and it's just so it's such a bad user experience. And that's why I was like, eventually I was like, crypto builders do not build for user experience. No. They didn't. They're starting to learn now. Yeah. Finally, like 6 years later, that, hey, the experience needs to be smoother. It needs to be more convenient. It needs to not have to get more money out of your bank to get your gas. Like, how many people did that last cycle, and probably the beginning of this cycle? So this is something that should happen across all chains. And so I guess better late than never.
Yeah,
this is my final 100%.
Well, you're right though, because I remember I was on Phantom and I want to sell this token, and I was like, oh crap, I don't have no Phantom. I actually had to go to crypto.com because that was the only place you can buy Phantom on exchange back then, and then I had to wait. Right, because crypto.com wasn't quick with the withdrawals. I had to wait sometimes 15, 20 minutes, and it was killing me because I'm sitting watching my chart of that coin, and I'm just seeing it just drop in value, and I'm like, come on, crypto.com, just send my $50 in Phantom. And then I get it, and I end up losing like $400 or $500, sometimes $1,000 in cases, because I didn't have the Phantom for gas, and this kind of solves that. So
yeah, that's such a degen story right there. And I've had those too. It's like, but anyhow, I'm glad that the builders in the space are starting to realize that there's a consumer at the other end, and they want a good experience. And that's the only way the masses are going to come over, by the way. And so they're learning, though. Developers are really smart, but they're analytical. Definitely, some business people have seemed to come in to the crypto space, which is definitely needed to make that user experience better.
Couldn't agree more. All right, so I got good news and bad news for Solana. We only hit first.
Bad.
All right, let's go to the bad news. Solana validators patch a 0-day vulnerability that could have enabled unlimited token minting. My question for you: was this a white hat hacker who figured this out, or was it the team internally? How do you not know there's a 0-day vulnerability, which means this is from day zero? This was happening. Maybe someone was siphoning off coins for 4 or 5 years, but this could have destroyed Solana. Let's just say if 1 million Solana was minted out of thin air.
It wouldn't have destroyed it, because Solana can just bring out their pause button and say, we're gonna pause the chain to fix this. No, I like to give crap to the Solana community, but that's scary. Probably really hard to find if no one took advantage of that up until today.
We don't know. That's the thing. What if somebody was doing it real slow, not to notice, and was getting a bunch of free Solana here and there?
Oh, I didn't realize Solana's max supply is infinity.
Yeah, there is none. Same with Ethereum. There is none for Ethereum either.
That just turned a lot more scarier. Like the fact that
this guy could have just been he could have been siphoning off, 1,000 Solana a day, and nobody probably would have even noticed, because it's proof of stake.
Yeah, this should be a way bigger story.
I know, no one's talking about this.
I mean,
Solana team put under the rug here. Yeah, I love that term, pushing under the rug, but yeah, I mean, they definitely.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Solana. I'm not a player over there. So for me, this is just funny.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta respect what they've been able to do as at least
Yeah.
like the volume and stuff. But like, I hope there's more to the story than just this.
Here's some good news for Solana though. Wrap Bitcoin WBTC goes live on Solana this weekend. You can now trade the most, the most liquid Bitcoin wrapped version out there, which is WBTC, now on Solana. So why did it take so long, do you think, to get Wrap Bitcoin on Solana? I understand Wrap Bitcoin is EVM. You're kind of wrapping the Wrap Bitcoin again to put it on Solana. Or do you think it's just maybe this is from the Wrap Bitcoin Foundation and it's just a Solana version?
They've probably gotten a push from them, I imagine.
Yeah.
Exposure for Wrap Bitcoin, but why not? Why not until now? Probably because Solana is messy in terms of the developer side of things. We've heard from numerous people that their API libraries are extremely messy. There's a lot of it's just not like on the EVM side, everything is like really organized. So that's probably why. But I imagine now that they're getting more demand, especially with building and adding assets and those type of things, they probably should clean that up and make it a better experience, or builders aren't going to like building there.
Yeah, 100%. And like I was thinking when I first saw it, I was like, Solana guys don't hold. Like they don't hold. So why even have Bitcoin there? Right. So and then I saw a poll from Ansem was like, how many of you guys have Bitcoin in your portfolio? And Udi actually quoted and was like, it was like 25%. So, but this could be a way to kind of get those guys who make a lot of money into Bitcoin, right? So that's another way. Maybe Solana's like, hey, maybe you should hold the strongest asset in the world. Not enough of you guys hold it. So maybe holding on Solana will get that in their portfolios.
Maybe, but I think it was way less than that, dude.
Was it?
Yeah,
I know Udi was like, "This is scary."
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm looking for it right now. I can't find it, but I want to say it was like below 10%.
Yeah.
And so which I'm not really shocked about because I mean, 95% of his audience is Solana community, right?
Yeah, more than half for sure. All right, let's move along here. The total value of tokenized real-world assets (RWA) has surpassed 22 billion, up 10.25% over the past 30 days. Let me show you this chart. It's really interesting. So this is the RWA assets, right? So Ethereum has about 311 protocols that are doing stuff with RWA. ZK has 36, Stellar has 9, Algorand has 1, Solana has 13, so on and so on here. Polygon actually has 255. But you can see here that the total value of these assets, obviously Ethereum is huge. And, a lot of these ETH L2s with ZK, which is ETH L2, Avalanche, which I guess it's layer 1. And Polygon is now kind of an L1, L2. But yeah, so what do you think about this? RWA, man, is growing very quickly, about 30% every month. How big do you think RWA can get?
I think it could be really big, but the question is how many of the top RWA protocols in the next 10 years late down the road are going to be from homegrown grassroots, started off in crypto and they're a leader, or from TradFi coming over building. I mean, capital can do a lot of stuff, but it can do a lot of stuff if whoever's in charge of that legacy entity has people that know what they're doing in the new innovative tech field, right? So the example goes always back to the website days, and the ones that acquired companies, they had people that knew. Some of them acquired companies that didn't have success. Like Yahoo, I think was bought for billions of dollars, and and all this stuff, but they weren't the winner, right? And so it's going to be interesting to see the RWA entities in the future, and if they are originally from our space, or if they come over from TradFi, because TradFi does have the advantage of being an RWA for so long.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so we'll see. And Ondo, they really want to become. They're actually on Ethereum right now, right? So they're
going to be successful. Ondo's going to be successful, in my opinion, because of the backing of BlackRock and all that stuff. I mean, they're just they have. If they fail it, that's something went very wrong there.
Yeah, and 22 billion. I'm gonna say by the end of next year, over $1 trillion. Would you take so you take it higher or lower on that?
Ooh, next year.
I mean, think about it. Just bring on gold, right? Just gold alone, just 10% of gold on chain is a ton of money. It's like over $1 trillion alone, right? So
yeah. One thing on that list that didn't shock me, but was the amount of RWA protocols on Polygon, because there's some people that are building on Polygon that you would be shocked that are building, like we found some that, and also RWA can be a really broad category, right? Typically, when you say RWA, you're talking about traditional financial products, right? But that can also go into any type of asset class that has value from a tangible world set. And so we see stuff on Polygon, but the part that does shock me is 255 RWA protocols, but only $278 million. So there's probably more of those grassroots type of protocols that are built on Polygon than something like Ethereum mainnet, which makes sense because Ethereum's where it all started with all the money and capital liquidity.
Yeah, and if you guys want more information on this, go to rwa.xyz. That is where this chart came from, so definitely check them out if you want more information on RWAs. But yeah, this is going to be $1 trillion industry. Whether it happens this year, next year, the year after, it's definitely going to happen. So
agreed.
I got two more things here. OKX wallet, they actually went down for a little bit, but they're back. They're alive. On-chain trading has just received a major upgrade. So the OKX wallet now apparently has done some really big things. Jeff, did you see Jeff's tweet about it?
Yeah, he's all hype about it.
Yeah, he was really hype about they're basically taking what you're getting from GMGN and a whole bunch of other places, and they're kind of sticking it all in their wallet. They're going to be absolutely massive. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that. But did you get anything from that? I meant to dig deeper in that, but I actually
well, I mean, they're just really it seems like they're taking this account abstraction, probably a chain abstraction approach. And by the way, account abstraction versus chain abstraction is pretty much the same thing, right? Yeah. It's just different verb phrase, right? Because you're utilizing a wallet that's not native to that chain and able to integrate it and stuff like that, or merging two chains and making the user experience better. So it seems like that's what they're going for, but they're also adding meme launchpad is showing.
Yeah,
is that correct? Or?
Yeah, meme pump. It's so basically they're bringing all the pumps into one place. Signal, you can actually see what big wallets. Remember, you had something that you were really interested in, kind of checking on the bigger wallets and kind of seeing what they're doing. But they have Signal right there, and they have Tracker. You can actually track the addresses of some of the larger holders and kind of seeing what they get into. So yeah, they've actually, this is a huge upgrade. I wish I would have watched this earlier, but yeah.
And this upgrade and this move has to do with on-chain stuff, guys. So it's not their centralized exchange really that has to do with this. It's more of them being more on-chain activity tools that give you guys the access to be able to trade for runes and other things like that. That's more so as a centralized exchange, it seems like they're kind of opening up a little bit, but we'll see.
Yeah, really interesting, really awesome to kind of see what they offer, man, for sure. So really looking forward to. I mean, they've been a leader, especially in the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? They've been one of the. I mean, you can trade runes and BRC20s for absolutely free, right? So,
yep.
All right, final thing here, guys. I know it's been a really long show, but BitcoinOS, they actually had a tweet this morning. They said we did it on May 4th. What we successfully demoed the first bridgeless transfer of Bitcoin between Bitcoin and Cardano mainnet. And I asked you to kind of look into this for me because I really didn't have the time. What did you get from that?
This is what I got from it. I still need to dive deeper in, but it seems like what they were able to do is on the Bitcoin layer one side, take a Bitcoin, and then you lock that Bitcoin up on Bitcoin layer one. You're able to create an XBTC, supposedly on Bitcoin layer one, but it's also called chainless. So I'm confused there. And so then you're able to send that XBTC directly to a Cardano protocol. And then from there, you can send it to another Cardano protocol, which then can send it back to a BitcoinOS, right? So you see up on top is kind of that first part of the process where I said you lock the Bitcoin up, you create this chainless Bitcoin, which is called XBTC, which also I guess the digital asset lives on Bitcoin. They are using Starknet, I believe, for this. So I guess that's what is replacing the bridging. But to me, the way a typical bridge works is you lock your Bitcoin up at the bridge, and the other side of the bridge, you mint the synthetic Bitcoin on the other side of the bridge. It seems like on this, what they're doing over here is they're locking the Bitcoin up on layer 1 and creating the synthetic Bitcoin on layer 1, and then moving that over to Cardano. So that's what I got from it. And I do need to dive deeper in to see what first of all, what exactly does chainless mean? Secondly, is this, compatible from like a Bitcoin wallet to a Cardano wallet as well? Could I send XBTC from Bitcoin to a Cardano wallet and it show up as the XBTC? So if that's the case, then they've been able to figure out some unique digital asset utilizing Starknet to be able, or sorry, not Starknet. What was it?
ZK? ZK Sync? Well, no, I think it might be.
No,
I think it is Starknet.
I believe that's what it is. But anyways, and be able to do that without bridging, or is this just another kind of way to you're doing the minting of the synthetic asset on, you're locking and minting the synthetic asset on one side, and then just bridging that synthetic asset over like you typically would do on the other side, or with a regular Bitcoin. Instead of locking the Bitcoin up at the bridge, you lock the synthetic asset up at the bridge, and then it does creates a replica on the other side. I'm not sure. Maybe we get them on the show too, just to dive, break down exactly how it works, because I think from we don't want to get too technical on here, because number one, we're not developers, so we probably got it wrong. Yeah. But number two, it's sometimes being too technical can be boring, but at least they can explain it in an easy way. Right. So
yeah, man, 100%. So definitely, guys, check out the post from BitcoinOS, and they are Cardano builders at this point, and they're building for Cardano and Bitcoin, so it's absolutely awesome. But it does seem like maybe this is trustless. The only thing I can get from this and why this is such a historic thing is maybe this right here is trustless. When you do it with wrap Bitcoin, obviously you're counting on a third party to do it for you. If this is trustless, do you think this is a big deal? If this is just automatic, once that Bitcoin is deposited, it is frozen, and then one XBTC is minted for you.
If it's trustless and it's I'm wondering how safe it is. For me, like with the zero knowledge stuff, I always ask like, how long is the challenge period? Because the challenge period to me matters the most, because that's a part of the user experience. So for the audience listening in, like the challenge period is like if there's a dispute of something, right? Something happens. You didn't get your Bitcoin or whatever, there's a certain amount of days that like the protocol goes through for checks and balances, all that stuff. And, I think anything more than really at this point, like a 24-hour period, I know that seems very like short for like a challenge period, but I mean, I'm not going to wait like 5 days. I'm never going to use it. I'm not going to use it. You know what I mean? Or if I do, it's going to be for such a minimal amount ever.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't want Bitcoin stuck in like 19 days is a lot. Like they started at 19 days a lot. I think it was BitcoinOS or somebody else started at 19 days. Maybe it was Citria. And now they've gone down 19 steps. So, they go in steps. So,
yeah, I'm just not down for waiting. If this takes more than an hour, I'm out. Right. So, But it's awesome. We're seeing innovation. We're seeing it happen on Bitcoin. We're seeing it happen on Cardano. We're seeing it happen in our ecosystem, which is absolutely awesome. And that's going to wrap our show up today, guys. We really appreciate it. We got 221 of you guys on YouTube and X, not to mention the few people on Twitch. We do have someone commenting from Twitch, which is really weird. It has how long you've been streaming. A long time. Twitch is easily the hardest place to grow a following on. It is ridiculous to grow on Twitch, but we appreciate anyone watching from Twitch, and not to mention on Abstract and Rumble and Spotify later. We appreciate it. All you guys tuning in later. We'll make sure we have all those, the timestamps for you guys as well. But we really appreciate every single one of you guys just hanging out with us.
Absolutely. And, without y'all, we couldn't do this. We are very grateful for that. It's fun. We love to do it every day. It's a lot of work, but we love it. And we love engaging with you guys. But if you could also check out our partners, that also allows us to be able to do this. We would be greatly, appreciative. Sats Terminal is our latest partner, and we are really excited about these guys. They are an aggregator DEX swap for runes currently. They recently added Alkane's protocol to their, they service, to the roadmap. So they're going to be servicing those assets as well. But, they aggregate from every runes DEX, guys. And so you're going to find the cheapest available, assets there. They have the most liquidity because they aggregate there. And, right now they have this point system called Amber, so you can actually earn Amber by utilizing their swap. Really excited for what they have coming in the future as well. They just got investment from Draper Labs as well, and so excited about these guys. And we'll have more coming up with their Wednesday segment, their weekly Wednesday segment. So you guys can ask the team any questions that you have. But yeah, if you visit satsterminal.com, you can learn more about them and make possibly swap. And one thing also, if you guys could, give us some feedback, maybe you don't like the way their swap works and you'd rather use a different one. Just let us know what that feedback is, because it's crucial for builders to be able to make the experience better. And that's what they're about. And then BetBTC is the predictions marketplace of the Bitcoin ecosystem. All you need is a Bitcoin wallet, some Bitcoin, and 6 Bitcoin blocks, and you can start placing bets in their marketplaces. You can place a bet in their Blitz market, which is a 10-minute market. It's kind of a perps and leverage experience, but in a very hyperactive way, because you get 10 minutes to pick up or down for Bitcoin, the Solana, and BNB. And then you get 10 minutes to see if you won or lost, right? So it's a really fast market there. But in the future, they'll create your own markets that you can earn up to 1% of the total volume there, as well as Bet with Friends is coming right around the corner. So, you can earn points as well by just creating an account. You don't have to spend a single dollar. You just create an account, you get 50 points. They will have a future, there's some alpha tied to that. I'll say that. So you know what that means. Visit betbtc.win to learn more about them. You guys ever think about bridging your ordinals to different chains and ecosystems? Because there's going to be marketplaces that are going to be really wanting those ordinals, in my opinion. Stuff like Abstract, you can utilize Emblem Vault in the future, very near future, to be able to do that. You're going to be able to jump your puppets, your node monks, your frogs to Abstract, to Merlin, Bitcoin Layer 2. There's a new meta coming out, guys, that we're going to go over in our next alpha video next Sunday, but it's going to have to do with moving some ordinals around, but we're really excited about that. But you're eventually going to be able to do that on Solana as well, and you can utilize AI Agent Hustle to help you do that. Once they add the Bitcoin tech stack to Hustle. Right now, you can use Hustle to help you trade on Solana, get you alpha, do some deep research for you, eventually conditional trading. That's what I'm going to probably use it for. But everybody do your research on it. It's definitely a cool experience to try out. But also don't forget about their runes TGE that's going to be coming out in September. Right now, you can actually head over to OpenSea if you want to participate in their pre-sale environment. It's an NFT, EVM NFT, but once they get to their TGE, they're going to give you steps on how to get those runes into your Bitcoin wallet. If you head over to emblem.vision, you can learn about all aspects of all their product suite that they have to offer there. And if you do like perps and leverage, playing in that arena, you're going to want to check out Artura Finance. These guys are building on Hemi Bitcoin Layer 2. You're going to be able to trade synthetic Bitcoin fungible tokens like Sats, Ordi, Dog Go to the Moon, $1 billion Cat, etc. But you'll also be able to trade the popular tokens, right? Like XRP, Ethereum, Solana. And it's going to be exciting because like I said, they're going to be launching on Hemi Bitcoin Layer 2, which is backed by Binance Labs. So there's going to be a lot of attention there. But they're also going to be launching on Botonics around the same time too. So, the development's coming along really nice. And there's another aspect to really earn with them with their passive liquidity vault, so you can participate in that too. So head over to artura.finance to learn about them, and also keep your eyes open as we're doing a kind of a joint project with them by bringing experienced traders to you guys to kind of help give you guys tips and things like that. So if you are an experienced trader, reach out to us and we'll get you on the OnChain Revolution. What we'll do is typically if you have a project or something like that, we'll let you kind of tell the audience about it, because it's kind of our give back to you guys. And then fluid tokens, these guys, there's a tool that they're about to release that's going to make airdrops with runes a lot more affordable. We're actually helping them test that currently, and it's going really, really smooth. But they were the first to offer retail staking vaults to the public, to you guys, right, on Bitcoin Layer 1. And the Dog Go to the Moon staking vault's about we're really close, about 21 days. As we get closer to that Bitcoin 2025 conference, you're gonna be able to unstake your dog. But if you do have a collection, let's say you're an ordinal collection founder, or you etched a rune and you have an established community, head over to their Discord and ask them how to get started with a staking vault, right? All you need is a small established community, and they'll hook you up. And it's a great way to have your community earn. And they'll also have their Aquarium bridge that's going to allow you to bridge back and forth from Bitcoin to Cardano, vice versa. So we will update you guys on that information as it comes out. You can visit fluidtokens.com to learn more about that team. And then Tokyo Wallet, which is a smart wallet. This wallet, Shizzy and I are both very bullish on because we use it, right? We love using it. It's very good user experience. And so we challenge you guys to use it. You can head over to the Apple App Store or Google Play to download it. The good thing about them is that they started on mobile because they knew they're kind of like what I was talking about with those builders, right? They started with the consumer experience first, like the user experience, right? And so that's why they started on mobile, but you can actually swap runes directly from the app. They have partnered with Sats Terminal to make that user experience even better. In the future, they're going to be adding, assets from SUI and different things. So when we talk about multi-chain smart wallet, this is them, guys. This is what we're talking about for the future of crypto. You're not going to know what chain you're on, but you're going to know what wallet you're using, and that's going to be Tokyo. So we ask you guys to give us some feedback on this as well. If there's a feature you want added or anything like that, let us know. If you head over to tokyo.io, you can actually download it directly from there on your phone. And so please give us some feedback on it, though. And lastly here, Merlin chain, uniting Bitcoin strength with AI. And so what they're doing is they are about to release the Wizard 0.3 version of their AI that can help you guide you through Merlin chain. It's going to have all the information about the chain there. Also, don't forget that they have their proof of stake to where you can actually help secure the chain if you have Merlin chain tokens, and you can earn 15% APR. That's a really good APR in my opinion for a proof of stake chain. Yeah. And so with their growth in partnering with SEI and being a part of the WBTC DAO, I feel like that this is in my opinion, for me personally, a no-brainer to stake that. But that's up to you guys. There's going to be some future updates as well from Jeff. We're going to have him back next week. So look out for that. But if you want to learn more about Merlin Chain, go to merlinchain.io. And lastly, our integrated partners, Foxy AI. We're going to be live streaming the Cypher Striker. If you guys are into first-person shooters, every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, where we do a live stream. everybody's invited if you have a compatible Bitcoin wallet, which is most all of them, and Phantom and MetaMask. You can actually join and pick a clan, and then we kind of go to war for about 45 minutes. It's a fun time, live streaming, chatting, cutting it up. So really fun time. And then Ordinal Hive is your aggregator Ordinal marketplace. Cheapest Ordinals around will be at Ordinal Hive, Bitcoin layer 1 and layer 2. And they have amazing trader tools there too. We thank you guys so much for checking out our partners.
Yep. Great job on that, man. Absolutely killed it. Keep adding new partners. Poor Yagobi has to talk for 10, 20 minutes straight. I appreciate you, man. But let's dig into my part of it, which I'm going to go over the OnChainRevolution.io website. We have some of the best articles dating all the way back to 2023. If you know someone just entering the space, please send them our website. We really feel it can help them get started and caught up to where we are today. We've got some of the best articles. A brand new article just popped up about Tokyo Wild. We have so many, guys, so many articles at this point, hundreds and hundreds. But definitely check them all out here. If you guys need a VPN, VPNs are very important. If you go to sites, you will notice that some of them won't let you go to their sites, right? For whatever reasons, because you're an American or you're Canadian or wherever. But if you have a VPN, you can actually go around that. That's the site blocking you, not your country. You're doing nothing wrong. It is privacy, and privacy is a right. And you guys can actually get privacy through having a VPN. NordVPN is absolutely my favorite. They actually have more features now where you can check for malware on your computer. That's very important, guys, because you might go to a site and accidentally download some malware. Zoom, got to be careful on Zoom these days because people are actually having you download malware right to your computer. But with Nord, you actually get a message saying that has happened, and Nord will actually help you delete it. But and on top of that, you can get it for $10 a month, or you can use our link here and get it for 70% off at $3. I think I paid $36 for the year. I'm actually going to open up a second one for because you can only have like 5 computers that attach to that. So I have my phone and my 3 laptops here, and my kid, all my kids' stuff are on there because I don't want their devices getting viruses or anything like that. My wife's phone. So I'm probably gonna have to get a second one as well. But you if you have one by yourself, you're only going to need one. You have the 5 devices with that. So definitely check that out at NordVPN. Use our link. Make sure you're using our link, guys. And if you guys are going to the big conference, Bitcoin 2025 Las Vegas, it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. But if you wait any longer, you're screwed because these prices are going to double, triple, 4x, right? We heard that the last conference in Dubai was overbooked and it was packed. They sold too many tickets. So I don't know if Bitcoin 2025 is going to learn from that and not sell as many tickets. So what are they going to do? They're going to jack prices up. So get them as soon as possible and get them through us. Use our link, guys. Use our link for that as well. And if you need merch for that event or any event, check out our store tab, Shopify. It's all done through a third party. You can check out all of our stuff here. We took down all the Ordinal Revolution stuff. Ordinal Revolution, you cannot buy any more merch. If you do have one of them, you are considered legendary. If you walk up to me at a conference and you're wearing an Ordinal Revolution shirt, you, my friend, are going to get showered in gifts, if not drinks. So shout out to you, my friend. But check out all of our stuff here. We have so many cool stuff: hats, hoodies, jackets, school bags, and so much more. Check it all out here at OnChainRevolution.io. And guys, we are live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 3 p.m. UTC. Check us out all week, guys. Until tomorrow.
Peace.
OnChain Revolution roll call. Market recap. You're not bullish enough. No. You're not bullish enough. No. Look at the price go. Bitcoin control. Why you still coping? Price action rolling. Don't fall for bear trap. Swapping indexes and putting it up in the Sachs. I can take profit right now. OnChain is where I be now. You can never look back. They don't want you to know. How did the market react? Fear and greed gotta adapt. Now we bridging the tokens and marching the network right now. You know how crazy we are. Nookies are savages now. They know how crazy we are. Chain abstraction, main attraction. OnChain Revolution.